Did you think when you were younger that you would have 15 kids?
Yeah, definitely. I think whenever I was like super young, I thought that that was just what I was going to have. Like, if you get married at a young age, then you'll just have as many kids as possible. And so I didn't think that there was any other option.
What's going on, guys? Ginger and Jeremy here, and we're back for another episode of the Ginger and Jeremy podcast. And Ginge, you've got big news.
Got big news, guys. I'm pregnant. I am actually 16 weeks along. And so I no longer have to hide my baby bump because we've announced.
Yes.
So there's the announcement right there. And
You've
we're
been on
excited.
quite the struggle of trying to find things to wear.
Oh, my word. Yes,
Talk about
because
it.
I think part of the challenge is I didn't want to wear any maternity clothes because then people would be like, oh, I have that same shirt.
Where'd you get it? Moms or us?
Well, a lot of people just have similar maternity clothes. Like I had stuff back in the day from motherhood, but a lot of that is just so outdated. So I've needed to find some other maternity clothes. There are a couple good spots, some good websites. I can't even think of the names right now, but I don't know. I can't even think. What are the names of the pregnancy ones?
You've got pregnancy brain. Is that what it's called?
Thank you. Yes, that's probably what it is.
But it's been so every Sunday morning at church, because we hadn't announced to most of our friends, we announced to some family. If you haven't seen the vlog, we just released the vlog, and you kind of go through how we announced it to everybody, including me.
Yes.
But before that, I mean, every Sunday morning was like crisis,
such a struggle, because I was just like, I have nothing to wear, because like even a lot of my Sunday clothes are just like, I don't know, maybe more form fitting, and so there's not even the flowy clothes were starting to show a bump.
It was funny because you'd put on an outfit and be like, all right, this is it. And then 20 minutes later, we'd be at church or something, and I'd go, Ginge, you look pregnant.
So pregnant.
Like, it's obvious you're pregnant.
Yeah, this shirt today is actually even hiding it still because
that's from the
Bates Sisters
Boutique.
Yeah, it is.
Shout out to the Bates Sisters Boutique.
Let's go.
Website under here.
That's so great.
So it's been this struggle because you are now 16 weeks along. So you're really showing. You're in your second trimester.
Yeah.
And
I'm
waited
4
and waited
weeks
to
away
tell
from
people.
halfway.
Yep.
That's what I cannot believe.
Wow, that's
just
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. So I don't know if this is the normal time to tell people. Do people typically wait 16 weeks?
I don't know. Some people might. But I think a lot of people tell people sooner.
Yeah.
We just wanted to wait because, I don't know. There were a couple different things that came into play. But, I mean, I had a miscarriage between the girls. That was just at like 6.5 weeks or so.
Yeah.
And so I kind of wanted to wait until the second trimester to like make an announcement. I told just family and then like one or two close friends the news beforehand.
Right. Yeah, I think we told my family and then most of your family around 8 or 9 weeks, just because it's not often that they're out here.
Yeah.
And so everyone was coming out here for Jana's bachelorette party.
And then your parents visited. Yeah. Then we went to Jana's wedding, Jana and Steven's wedding. And then that's where we told the majority of my siblings. Else. Most of them.
Yeah. Except for James.
Oh, my word. I felt so bad. Poor James. I love him so much. And that's why I thought I already told him. I felt like I had already told him. And then he came out here for Jason's bachelorette. Watch me. I think I need a little more caffeine right now. So Jason's bachelor party. And then I was just casually talking about the pregnancy. And he was like, what? You're pregnant? I was like, James, I can't believe I didn't tell you.
How many pieces of news and info slip through the cracks, though, with a huge family?
Oh, yeah, so much. I feel like because you can only communicate to everyone through the group chat.
Sure.
But at the same time, it's like I wanted to tell people individually.
And let's be honest, people have that group chat on silent because there's so many. So even if it's put on the group chat, doesn't guarantee people are going to see it.
Yeah, it's true. It is so true. I miss a lot of things on the group chat too.
Yeah, there's a lot happening on that group chat.
Ton.
So poor James didn't know. But stuff slips through all the time because you've got to communicate it to so many people. And you're always thinking, who have I told? Who haven't I told?
Yeah.
And so I know I told some of my buddies, like, did I tell you this yet? That Ginger's expecting?
Yeah.
And they're like, nope. Or they'd be like,
Or
yeah,
half of them
yeah,
forgot.
twice, dude.
They forgot, and it
Yeah,
was like
that's
new
true.
news to them again.
Yeah, we were talking to Cade Thainer and Gabby Barrett last night, and talking about, oh yeah, we're gonna announce tomorrow, or whatever it was, whatever day this is, I don't know. We're gonna announce soon, and Cade's like, oh, I didn't know you were expecting. And we're like, well, Cade, we told you this.
That's really funny.
But the dudes aren't, I mean, we're excited, but
Yeah, you better be excited.
I'm excited.
That's
You
so
know what
funny.
I'm excited for is the gender reveal.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome.
We haven't figured out how we're gonna do that yet.
So we don't know. Last pregnancy we did a soccer ball filled with like, what was it, like confetti or powder, something.
Yeah, it was powder.
Yeah, our friend Matt like put it together, and then that's how we found out the gender. We just like gave him the results, and then he put it together and did that. But with this one, we know the gender because we did a blood test already, which is just really crazy. And so, actually, like how we found out, we'll have to show you guys later because it was actually pretty awesome.
We'll talk about that.
We'll show you that
on
later.
The gender reveal
That's for
episode.
another episode. But anyhow.
But yeah, that'll be
it's
fun.
cool.
That's coming up. And so, goodness, we've been telling everybody and we're excited. How do you feel about, I mean, everybody says we're going to be outnumbered now. I mean, obviously we know that, but people say parenting changes.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I have times where I just feel like, okay, here we go. I'm not sure what to think about this. Like I'm very excited, but I'm also just the number of like taking the kids out by myself or things like that, or flying. Like I recently flew, where did I fly? From Arkansas back to LA by myself with just the two kids, which is not that much. There's so many other families who have way more kids and the mom will fly by themselves. Yeah, there are so many families with a lot of kids and the moms will fly by themselves with all their kids and they're fine. But anyhow, it just is a challenge though when they are young, because then you have to like put them next to a stranger by themselves on a plane. And so all those things you just start to think about. And so yeah, if I fly by myself, then definitely way outnumbered. But anyhow,
yeah,
all of those
well,
things.
I mean, we're going to be outnumbered anyway, but I feel like Felicity is 6 and will still be 6 when the baby's born. Evie will be 4.
Yeah.
And so
They're
there are
old
some
enough.
families who've got 3 under 3 or 4 under 4.
It's amazing.
Like Jen and Katie.
Oh yeah.
They're going to be drowning.
They're going to do great though. Like they're going to be fine. But they're going to have what, 4 under 2? They're going to have 4 under 2.
That's not possible.
It is possible. They're going to have 4 under 2.
They can't. I don't think
will.
that's possible.
Look up Truett's age. I'm pretty certain they're going to have 4 under 2 because they had True and then they had Nora and then they're pregnant with twins and they were all very close in age.
Yeah, he's
2.
Yeah, he was born in May 2nd, 2022.
Yeah. He's going to just be 2.
Wow.
And then, yeah, they're going to have 4 under 2.
So that's crazy.
That's wild.
Jim Gaffigan.
We don't have our hands full.
Wasn't it Jim Gaffigan who said, people ask him what it's like going from having 3 kids to 4? And he said, imagine you're drowning and then someone hands you a baby.
It's so funny.
Anyhow,
like. Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited. I don't feel like I'm going to be, I don't know, like fully in that mode of like, we've got this until we're there. Because right now you can only think of what it's going to be like. And I think that that's how it was from going to 1 to 2. It's going to be the same going from 2 to 3. But I do think Felicity is old enough. She's so excited. And she's just going to be like, I think she'll just be more chill and like just be engaged, which will be really sweet. And Evie Jo, I don't know how she'll respond. I think it might be a little tough for her at first because she's so clingy.
Well,
she loves to be with mom or dad, like us constantly holding her. So for her not to be our baby is going to be really weird.
She'll go through an adjustment, but she also, like our little friend Eden, who's a year or 2 younger than her, she loves Eden.
She loves her. And anytime she comes over, she's trying to like tell her what to do and like help out. And so it'll just be sweet to see her in that place as like a big sister now.
They're gonna love being big sisters to this little baby. They're gonna love it. So let's talk about when we revealed it to them, because you came up with a really clever idea. I loved your idea.
You should talk about it. So what did we do? Like,
well, you set up the photo shoot, and so that was really sweet. I think those pictures came out great, by the way. Are those our Christmas pictures?
They might be our Christmas pictures,
Okay.
but then I also think, I'm like, is that, once you put photos out, this is something, okay, we should have this conversation. Pause, and we'll just like divert. Because whenever people send out Christmas cards, I feel like it's because you haven't seen their photos yet for Christmas. And so I feel like if you put your pictures on Instagram and then you send out a card, I feel like, well, it's kind of strange to me. So I would almost rather whatever photos I send as a Christmas card, like you haven't seen the picture. But that's just me, maybe.
It's a good ethical question. What are the ethics of reusing pictures for a Christmas card?
It's not really reusing, because I know a lot of people take their pictures in October for Christmas because it's such a rush for photographers.
So I guess the ethical question is, can you take the photos,
post
them, and then send the card
2 months later?
Do you have
That's
to
kind of
wait
weird.
after you've sent the card, then you can post those pictures?
I like to wait. I feel like it's kind of strange to do it in the opposite way.
So then
but
that
that's
means
just
we have
for
to
me.
do another photo shoot for Christmas card.
Yeah, but we probably won't. Like, knowing us, we won't. We try to get photos maybe once a year.
We should do it regularly.
We should.
It's fun. And the way we revealed it to the girls was fun. You got these denim jackets that said Big Sis on them.
Those were so fun. They're just from like Amazon. I was trying to figure out, I was going to like make something or like try to find, a creative way to tell the kids. And so then I heard Felicity a few days before. She was talking about our friend Eden again, like just how she's about to become a big sister. And she said she's going to join me on my team of being a big sis, but Evie's not on the big sis team yet. So anyhow, she was talking about that. And then it just got me thinking. I was like, she gets the concept.
Really cute.
We're going to get a jacket and this is going to be perfect. So I found these really cute jackets on Amazon and picked them out. And I told Felicity that day, I said, well, I have you some new outfits for our family photos. And I also have like a little surprise because it was like getting a little chilly. And I said, well, I have a jacket for you if you need it, but you can't wear it until we're there. And so she was like, okay, Mom, can I have the jacket now? Like she would ask me every 5 minutes after that. And I was like, no, it's just for family pictures. And so she was like, okay. So when we got there, we gave them the jackets and the Big Sis letters were like facing us. And so they couldn't see it. They were just holding up the jacket, looking at it. And those photos are so cute.
She genuinely thought the gift was just a jean jacket, and she was really grateful for it.
Yeah.
And then when we had her turn around, or had the jacket turn around and show her.
Yeah. And then you told her, you said something about what the jacket said. And then she, like her face, she was just in total shock. It was the reaction. Sweetest thing. Yeah. And then Evie didn't quite get what was happening.
Evie still doesn't get what's happening. So every night she wants me to pray that she would have no nightmares and only sweet dreams. Mm-hmm. We always ask the Lord to forgive our sins. We have a prayer of gratitude. And then she wanted me to include praying that the baby would be safe in mommy's womb and be delivered safely. And so I pray that those three things every night. I go to Felicity, pray that, and then I go to Evie. And then Evie will say, I'll say, the baby in mommy's tummy. And she goes, Daddy's tummy. Daddy's tummy. She'll like point to my tummy.
It's so great.
So she's not quite there. She doesn't quite get it.
That's so
she thinks
cute.
Baby is somewhere. And
I love that.
It's adorable. So she, when we told Felicity and Evie that you were pregnant, Felicity got it immediately.
Yeah.
And then because she's been praying, she actually told us, I'm praying to have a baby.
Yeah.
And she's praying for a boy too.
She is.
So we'll have to see. But but Evie was just like, oh, we're hugging now? Oh, we're excited now?
It's so cute. Yeah. Then she's like, what's for dinner? Like that's all she can think about.
Yeah.
So
truck.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. She loves cars. So that
loves cars, loves trucks.
That's it. It's cute though. When she prays, Evie will pray often. She always wants to pray when we sit down to eat anything. And she'll pray like 20 times in a row because she wants to ask, she says, Dear God, like it's all like an Evie speech. So her voice, she's like getting there. I think we let her have her passy a little too long. Yeah. So her speech is like she can communicate when she wants to, but anyhow, she'll just like kind of mumble some words and you can't tell what she's saying, but she'll say, "Dear God, no nightmares. Amen." Because the whole no nightmares thing came from like one night when Felicity said she had a bad dream.
Yeah.
And then we were like, yeah, bad dreams, it's kind of like a nightmare or whatever. Well, she used that word, and then every night she makes sure we pray for no nightmares. And then Evie will say the same thing, no nightmares. Even after we finish praying, they're like, "Did you pray for no nightmares?" We're like, "Yeah, we did." But Evie always says it now whenever we're sitting down to eat anything. She always goes, "No nightmares." Amen.
It was like 1 a.m. and I heard Evie crying, so I run into her room, and she's half asleep, half awake. And I go over, I start rubbing her back, and she just says, "Daddy, pray with me."
Oh,
So
yeah.
it melted me. So then I pray with her, and as soon as I finish praying, she says, "Good night, Daddy."
Oh,
And turns
that's
over.
precious. That's
And,
so sweet.
it was
I
a
remember you
special
told
moment.
me that. It was just a couple nights ago.
Yeah. I'm curious. I know we've talked about this years ago, but we're now about to have our third child. Did you think when you were younger that you would have 15 kids?
Yeah, definitely. I think whenever I was like super young, I thought that was just what I was going to have. Like everybody, if you get married at a young age, then you'll just have as many kids as possible. And so I didn't think that there was any other option to like honor God and to like be in that place. Like if you're married, you're going to have as many kids as you can until you can't have kids anymore. And so I thought I probably would have a ton of kids. And so it wasn't until like I came out of that theology and realizing like, okay, children are a blessing from the Lord. That is true. And we want to value children because God does. And then at the same time, I think like just what does that mean? Like looking at the world around us, the culture, they're like, they hate children. A lot of times you'll see there's like, I'm not going to have kids because I just want to live my life for myself, or I want to be able to go where I want to go when I want to go there. And a lot of the selfishness you can see there. We don't want that to drive our reason for how many kids we have. But then also like responsibly, I want to see and look at what God has created. So even with the things that God's given us to enjoy, it's like he's given us so many good gifts. And just because children are also a gift from God doesn't mean that we have to have as many as we can. But I think just responsibly before God, asking the Lord too what he would want us to do, just seeing like, okay, what can we handle? And like, where are we together as a couple in that, and not feeling like the pressure from, around like other people who may have like 5 kids and be doing really great with that. It's like, I don't want to, feel the pressure of like having to have that many kids. But then at the same time, it's like, it's also just like enjoying the children you have and then seeing like, okay, where would God lead us? And we don't want to have a heart that's like I said, selfish, or thinking like, okay, I want to do just what's convenient for me, but like asking God what he would have us to do.
Yeah. It's interesting, you brought up the teaching you grew up with. As Christians, it's obvious, for any genuine Christian who loves the Lord, we love people who are made in God's image, and we understand that life is valuable and precious, and that for us to kill an unborn child is murder. Mm-hmm. Someone said the other day, I don't know if it was on an Instagram comment or something, there's not a single verse against abortion in the Bible. And somebody else commented just really wisely and cleverly, so it's one of the 10 commandments, thou shalt not kill. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty obvious, for anybody who claims to be a Christian, well, they obviously should value life, and the life of the innocent unborn child is paramount. Mm-hmm. And so there's valuing life, there's loving the unborn child, seeing life as precious because it's made in the image of God. We have souls, we have eternal souls. So every child that's aborted still lives forever, and they'll be in glory, they'll be in heaven, and yet their blood is on the hands of those who've killed them. So there's that. We love children. We look at Psalm 127, children are a blessing. And so we know that the person who has children is blessed by God. And yet it was a weird superstitious belief that was taught to you guys in the IBLP cult-like setting, where it was like, if you don't have as many kids as possible, that's tantamount to killing kids. And so now you've got to have as many kids as is physically possible.
Yeah.
So you have women getting married at 20 and giving birth consistently until they're 42 and only being pregnant for those 22 years and having as many kids as physically possible, because otherwise it's like they're murdering children.
Yeah.
And I don't know what kind of weird ideology. I mean, I don't know how that got infused into the Bible. Because it's always ever been a responsibility issue of, there's so many blessings God gives. Everything God gives in this life is a blessing. Doesn't mean we have as much of it as possible, right? Money is a blessing. We're called to subdue the earth and to rule it. So land, money, doesn't mean every Christian needs to own as much acreage as possible, right? Or every Christian needs to have the biggest farm as possible, because we're called to subdue the earth. Obviously, this is a principle of blessing and responsibility. So it got twisted strangely in the teachings that you grew up with, where it was like tantamount to killing children if you didn't have as many as possible.
Yeah.
And so you would have just assumed, I'm just going to have as many kids as possible.
Right. Yeah. And that's what I thought. And I think that there are different sides to like even specific kinds of birth control that we wouldn't feel comfortable using. Some Christians do.
Sure.
Because I think like just things that are even just like another alternative to, hormonal birth control. I think that those are good options because some of them they're not going to allow you to like get pregnant and then terminate that pregnancy, because we've heard stories of that as well. And so I think that just in all of those things, right, it's like we want to value life and we want to just be good stewards of what God's given us. Yeah. And even as a couple, like talking through those things about like having kids, how many we want to have. And I think that also this side of it is like wanting to like invest in the kids that we have and just like really be present for them. Yeah. Even though I grew up in a large family, my parents did an excellent job of that. I really believe that they did such a great job of like trying to like connect with each one of us kids and like pour into us, just be present and take us one-on-one with them, like if they were going on errands or running, doing projects or whatever. So they did a great job with that. And I think like each family will evaluate that and see where they are as a couple. And so, yeah, it's not an easy thing to like think through sometimes, but I think that, like I said, just each family taking it as it comes and seeking the Lord in it, praying through it, and just like realizing too, like, I think this is the other side of things where we've had so many friends who have been unable to have kids of their own. Yeah. And that's something that's also been hard to see. Like there have been so many who can't have kids and it's just like, it breaks your heart, like I have a lot of friends who've been in that place and, seeing them go through that trial really makes you stop and think about just life and the gift that it is, because you want that so bad for them and you want them to experience the joys of raising kids, having them, and all of that. But I think that that's something that has been on my mind, especially every time that we are given this gift of life, just to think like, okay, and pray for those who aren't there, who haven't been able to conceive and haven't been able to have their own children. And just to like realize like, I want to be thinking and praying about how I can even minister to them in that spot, And I think just not taking it for granted is like so important. And then like also having miscarriage, like it's just something that really makes you stop and think about like how precious this is, no matter how long the pregnancy may last. And seeing my sisters walk through miscarriages later on, even and just how they handled that, I think you can see that, like, even when we were talking about the abortion thing, right? Like, there is life, and you can like try to deny that. But when you see these precious babies and like see how God has created them so beautifully, even in such a small stage, like when before they're even at full term, it's just like amazing to see. We couldn't have created that. Only God could design and make it possible for us to have these little ones created, made in his image, and for us to get the gift to carry them for as long as he gives us, or to enjoy them even on this earth as long as he gives us kids, then that's something that we want to value and cherish. And so, yeah, those are things that come to mind too, like in pregnancy, because I know that not everybody's in the same place. And sometimes pregnancy news, when you share it, it's like really hard for some people because they're walking through pain and sorrow with that news that comes to them, so don't forget that.
We've been so grateful for people sending their congratulations to us. But then you always see in the mix, someone commented today on the video, and we were able to respond and just say, we're praying for you too, as they said, congratulations. My husband and I have been trying for this many years to conceive and haven't been able to. And so to be able to say, hey, thanks for the congratulations. We're excited about the life we're bringing into the world, but praying for you too, that you have that opportunity. As a mother, it's interesting when you talk about the miscarriage. Obviously, it's devastating for the whole family when you lose a child, but there's an attachment the mother has, especially with that child, and feels the weight of that loss.
Yeah.
Because when God gives a child to a mother, that's the safest place for that baby to be, is in that mother's womb. And the chaos and danger of the world around them is hidden because the mother's protecting them in the womb. And so the mother should be the last one to assault that child and to attack that child, because they're in the place of safety. And God has given that mother the responsibility of caring and protecting that child. And so you see in miscarriages that how deeply that pain is felt by the mother when they lose the child. And again, it screams at us that this is a human being. It's made in God's image. The way Jesus was described in Mary's womb was as a baby. The baby in your womb. The baby leapt in her womb, in Elizabeth's womb, and Mary was carrying the baby. And you see Jesus, or God describes forming us in the womb. He's crafted us. He's the divine creator. We're not just a clump of cells that happen to, form together. No, this is divine creation, and God has formed us in his image. So in order to say the child inside the womb isn't a child, you actually have to deny God. You have to deny the person of God. You need to deny the purpose of God in creation. You need to deny the design and his creative act. So it's actually a bigger ask than just to say, no, that's not a child, but I'm a Christian who believes in the rest of Scripture. You're actually assaulting the very work and character and essence of who God is if you assault the reality of who we are as humans. So looking at those who are struggling with infertility or miscarriage, what do you say to them in their time of pain? If you were to come alongside as someone who's experienced that, how do you encourage?
Yeah, well, I've only experienced miscarriage. And so infertility, that's something where I can't imagine being in that place of wanting a baby so bad, but then that not being given to you. And so, yeah, my heart just goes out to those I know, my friends, and many of even our listeners who have told us of their journey. And it just, like, my heart breaks for them to be in that place and it to feel so hopeless. And I think, like, I'm thinking of a couple friends too who they went through years and years of infertility. And then one friend in particular that I'm thinking about, she ended up adopting 2 little ones. And then shortly after, she found out she was pregnant. And she was just so surprised. And this is after years of them walking through that journey. And I think just seeing God give them that little one was just so sweet of their own. But then also they reached out and they were like, they have 2 beautiful children that they welcomed into their home through adoption. And it's just an amazing thing to see. Like, we don't understand why God allows something, but that may have even propelled them into the adoption world, even as hard as it is to like not have those children of your own that you really long for. Now they have a family, a beautiful family of 3, and they've welcomed these children into their family. And it's just the sweetest thing to see them all together, and they're going to grow up together. And God knows what he's doing even when we don't understand. And it's easy for us to say that not being in that place, but really to trust in the word of God that, for those that love him, he causes all things to work together for good. And so I think just like through the trials, through whatever we walk through, just trusting God, even in miscarriage, like they're just so many things that we can't understand and we cannot fully comprehend. But now looking at every day that I'm carrying this pregnancy, and like I went in for an ultrasound yesterday and I was just seeing the baby move. I called my mom afterwards and I just was like tearing up because I said, it's just so sweet. Like, you see this baby moving and kicking and the heartbeat's great. And you just thank God. I'm like, because not seeing that and not hearing that, like, you realize like just how fragile life is, and just not to take it for granted.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And now I need tissues. We need to keep a tissue box right here. I feel like.
Everyone get you tissues.
Yeah, that would be great.
All right, we got you tissues, so you're good to go.
This is brought to you by Kleenex.
So speaking about the life of the child and how we rejoice in the life that God gives, maybe switching gears and talking a little bit about, we just went to the live Action Life Awards Gala with Lila Rose and everything they're doing to promote life. And it just puts it at the forefront of your mind, just the beauty of conception, the incredible miracle it is of the woman's body growing a child and everything that entails and everything it does. And, as we're following along at 16 weeks, how big is the baby right now?
I think the doctor said yesterday it was as big as like, was it the palm of her hand or something, or her hand? I can't remember. I'll have to actually pull up my app because it tells me. It is like,
you've got the equivalent app where it's like, today your
like
baby
fruit?
is a lemon.
Yeah, seriously. I think that's the one I have right now. It gets a little cheesy. And then it actually says, do you want to change from, it says, you don't like fruit? Change it to another food. And I'm like, why hilarious. Have food? Why is it always food?
Your baby
is as big as an avocado.
An avocado.
There we go.
I like it. But talk about the Live Action Life Awards Gala. It was incredible to see all that's happening and to educate people. I think one of the major parts about Christians fighting for the life of children, unborn children in the womb, is just showing people the reality of the miracle. Because so many people maybe have believed a lie that it's not a human life, or, lies that science has long disproven. It's funny, we're in a society that's like, wants to utilize science to their advantage to discount God, right? And morality. But then when it comes to something like the unborn child, they have to disregard science to get their way. And it shows you the human heart actually isn't legitimately convinced away from the reality of God by evidence. They're just using whatever things they can manage to find to allow themselves to be God, to live how they want to live.
Yeah.
But one of the things that Live Action's doing is just educating people on the beauty of this miracle of life. And so that was cool to see.
Yeah, it's really awesome. They're doing so much like to show people like from conception all the way until birth, just what the child looks like in the womb and how it's developing, the things that it's like what it's doing and all of that. And it's just like so incredible. And then also like I've talked about this a lot, but like my sister Josie, when she was born at like 25 weeks gestation. She was so tiny. She was 1 pound, 6 ounces. Her head was the size of a cue ball. Her skin was almost translucent. You could see her, like her veins. You could see a ton of things, but she was able to like survive. They, like some babies do, even earlier than that, like outside of the womb, they'll be able to survive. But it's incredible the technology that they are able to use now to sustain life at such a small, fragile point. And Josie was just like a testament of that. But seeing her like that was crazy because like you will see videos on the ultrasound and you're trying to think, okay, what does this baby look like? What are they able to do now? And just seeing this tiny baby born, and we weren't actually able to go in and see her. Well, we saw her once, and then because I wasn't over 18, I think I was like 16 or something. Is that right? Somebody could do the math, but I think I was 16 when she was born. And so I was too young to go in because it was flu season. And so like we got to see her once, and she was like in her little, I don't know what it is. It's like the covered thing. I wanted to call it an incubator, but that sounds terrible. But it looks like that. It's like the little bubble thing. And she was like closed off in there when we came in. And then once we left, we didn't see her for, I want to say at least a couple months or a few months. I don't know. But my parents and older siblings were allowed to go visit her during that time. But just seeing videos and stuff of her growing and all the things they had to do to sustain her life were incredible. But so many other babies in there. You had ones who were smaller, and just seeing them, some of them would survive, some of them wouldn't. But just knowing like you cannot deny the fact that is a human life, that is a baby. And she's now grown up. She's 14. She's driving. She's doing amazing. And
she's full of life, that girl.
Yeah, she is. And you would never guess like, oh, wow, she was a preemie. Like when you look at her,
every
it's just
time
like
we
crazy.
go home and see her, I'm just amazed at how much she's grown up.
Yeah, it's crazy.
She's taller every time. She's more mature every time.
Yes, it's wild. Like I cannot believe how big Josie has gotten. And
life is passing by quickly.
It's crazy.
It's
driving. Insane. Oh, it's scary. So all of my siblings are driving now.
Crazy.
Yeah, driving at 14 is a little scary. We always talk about that, but those Arkansas laws.
Yeah,
oof,
they're wild.
Crazy.
Well, it definitely reminded me of the value of giving a voice to those who don't have a voice.
Mm-hmm.
My mom, for those listeners who aren't aware, she has a nonprofit, SWAN, Scaling Walls a Note at a Time. It's a music mentoring program for children whose families have a history of incarceration. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times these children are just ignored. They're bouncing from home to home. They don't have a place. They don't have people investing in them. And so SWAN comes along and is like an after-school program and trains them in music, which is proven to just help your mental development and all kinds of development, character development, everything. But it's a glimpse into just how many children are hurting, how many children are abandoned, and it reminds you to use your resources, whether it's your time, your money, your connections, your voice, to speak up for those who don't have anyone speaking for them. And the unborn are probably the largest demographic in our country of people who are being neglected in that way, and just casually, used as a political ticket item, or a way to win an election, or to mar your opponent in an election. And to remember that these are precious little lives made in the image of God, and every single aborted child is living forever. And so ultimately God wins this whole thing. It's funny, the schemes of even the devil will never win. The Lamb wins, Jesus wins. And even when it comes to the children that are there, whose lives are taken in the womb, they're in glory. And you know what's interesting is for mothers who've taken the life of their children in the womb, and who've come to repent of that or come to Christ and ask for forgiveness and feel the weight of that regret, even for them, this is a message of hope,
Mm-hmm.
because in spite of our own sin, the Lord is glorified, and he wins, and he will redeem. And so you see, even there, for if you're speaking with a mother who's had that in her past, there's the joy and the good news of saying, you'll see your child again.
Yeah.
And so even in spite of our actions, the Lord is gracious. He's a kind redeemer. And so that's a marvel to think about, just the mercy and grace of our God. But it also gives us a heightened sense of responsibility. Saying,
Yeah.
let's speak up for those who don't have a voice.
For sure.
And so even as you and I celebrate, and all of our friends and our listeners and people who might follow you on social media are chiming in saying congrats, and we're getting text messages and all that. It's so fun. There's a lot to weep over in this world. And so when we have opportunity to rejoice, we rejoice. But in the midst of that, we remember those who haven't been given children, or those children who've been lost. And we're able to celebrate, but also remember them in our prayers, and let them know that we love them, and we're praying for them, and we're praying that the Lord would for some grant them children.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And so we're going to shift a little bit. I wanted to ask you, now that we're going on 3, how was it being the baby of 3?
Oh, that's right. We'll have, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I'm the youngest of 3, and that's what we're expecting.
Yeah. I just am curious, like, how was it being the baby? Because I cannot picture that, just because I'm like sandwiched in between all the kids. And so, being the baby of 3, entering with 2 siblings above you who are, your siblings are just, stereotyped, like, what are they, 2.5 years apart, each of them or something? So.
Where are my youngest siblings at? We got it good. I think we got it good. My parents never spoiled any of us, but I think my brother and sister would disagree with that sentiment. I think.
If would they now? I'll ask them.
It's just the fact your parents are older and wiser, and it's not their first rodeo by the time they get to you. Yeah. So the third one, even, it's like
they're a little more chill. You're thinking, like,
I would think so, and they're a little bit like, well, we tried that didn't work, and we're not going to do that again. So I think there's some benefits. I think they're going to have to fight against the bias of the older siblings against them, thinking they're privileged. So that's an uphill climb from the start. But it's a joy being the youngest. I think it's a lot of fun. You were the youngest of 6 for a minute, and then, number 7 came along, and then number 8,
that's true.
Number 9,
I was the baby
10.
for a minute.
For a minute. Man, who you really need to ask about the privileges of being the youngest is Josie.
Oh my goodness.
She has raked in all the privileges.
Well, okay. So Josie's the youngest, and she will forever be the youngest. But the weird thing was, like, us looking at her, we would just say, like, man, she's just like one of the grandkids. Because literally, my oldest niece and Josie, and my second youngest sister, Jordan. So Jordan and Josie, my sisters, my niece, they are all the same age for 2 weeks.
That's crazy.
It's just wild. Like, it is so wild. So she literally was like one of the grandkids around all of the little ones. And so I feel like at that point, it's like we all look at it and we're like, it's sweet. Like, somebody has to be the baby. Right. So she's the baby. And we just know it. We see, like, just, it's funny because parenting shifts when it's like your baby, and especially if you've had a ton of kids. There's a certain point where it's like, okay, you're just you're like one of the grandkids. We're just going to give you all the things we're giving them, spoil them a little bit. We'll spoil you too. So
well, that's the ultimate spoiling. If you are in line with grandkids, because grandkids, even the youngest kid doesn't have a shot at being as spoiled as a grandkid.
Oh yeah.
Because at that point, the grandparents are just saying, hey, you get all the goodies. So Josie's got it good. She's sitting on her throne.
She does. It's good. I'm glad for her. She went through a lot as a preemie.
So she's earned it.
As a tiny baby. And so she has earned it.
Let her
enjoy it.
Let her enjoy it, yeah. Well, we're excited. This is going to be fun, and we'll have to keep you guys posted on when this gender reveal is.
Oh, yeah. We need to start planning, really, because, I mean, we have not made enough plans.
I think as long as we avoid every couple years in Southern California, someone does a gender reveal. I feel like during the pandemic, it was like they went crazy with these gender reveals. Remember the $1 billion gender reveal?
Yeah.
Where
$1 billion baby.
They
I don't know if that's exactly what they call them, but
they had like tannerite, and they shot it and exploded pink or blue, and then it lit all the dry grass on fire and caused $1 billion of fire damage.
So not thinking.
We're
not going to do that.
We might do like a water balloon.
Yeah. I was like, maybe we'll have one of the brothers come do something with their helicopter.
Yeah.
You know, just like do.
We'll think of something.
It'll be great.
Maybe we'll do something with the pool.
With the pool?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe like color the pool.
Ooh, it's already blue.
So we'll color it pink.
So what would you do?
It'll become purple, depending on what the baby is.
That's hilarious.
All right. Well, guys, thanks for hanging out today, and
it's been fun.
Celebrate Ginger's freedom. She can wear whatever she wants now.
Let's go. All right, I will say, though, on that note, maternity clothes are hard to find. So if you have any good links, send them my way.
Send the links.
Because I don't like normal maternity clothes because I feel like they're not that cute. So I try to get away with the flowy ones. But comment below. Like, send me all the links for maternity clothes that are cute, stylish.
All right, as always, like, subscribe, do the things. See you later, guys.